Hello and welcome back to The History Freak. Today I'll be reviewing the 2006 movie Marie Antoinette, directed by Sofia Coppola and starring Kirsten Dunst. I will be sharing with you my 9 big thoughts about this movie. I have seen this film several times, but it's some years since I last watched it. So I decided it might be a good time to revisit it and do a review for The History Freak. The movie is said to be based on the book Marie Antoinette: The Journey by Antonia Fraser. Definitely a book I would recommend to history freaks. Now, if you haven't yet seen the film, it's probably best to see it before you watch this video. If you enjoy this video, then feel free to like it. And why not subscribe to our channel to see all our other fabulous content. Okay, let's crack on with this review. Number 1. How historic? Is this film historically accurate? Well, yes and no. The film is fun, funny, and an in-your-face interpretation on the life of the Austrian princess who goes on to become the famous French queen. The director said she wanted to tell a personal story, not make a big epic. I would say she most definitely achieved that. The film is mostly seen through Marie Antoinette's eyes and therefore lacks a lot of the hatred that people had towards her, at least until near the end of the movie. I think it's really important to approach historic films with a flexible attitude and to not get irked when things aren't given to us as a big history lesson. It's important to remember that this is an interpretation of people and events. That does not mean I'm saying the film was not historically accurate at times. There are a heap of accurate things here and there throughout the movie, and actually direct quotes that are thought to have been said by the real people. The history is there, but it's like the backdrop to the movie, and the real story is the interpretation of Marie Antoinette and her journey. It features a lot of fun parts of her life, with spending money, partying, having an affair, but it also deals with loneliness and the problems in her marriage. It may have been good to see the other side of things a bit more explored. I mean, a lot of people who would want to watch this film are, like me, big history nerds, and we want to see some hard facts. But I do also enjoy this movie for what it is. It's definitely a fun film. Number 2. Character development. At the start of the film, our star is just 14 and is shown as being adorably sweet and immature, but she was basically a kid, so what would anyone expect? You quickly get a sense of the enormity this girl was faced with. In an early scene, we see her arrive at Versailles to a sea of scowling faces. In another scene, we see her at dinner having all this whispering going on around her. It shows what a daunting task this would be for anyone, let alone a young girl, to live in this place in the position she was in as future queen. The running theme with Marie Antoinette is that she is a pleasure-seeking young woman, but we get some deeper moments from her as well. We start to see her grow up a little and understand the importance of making sure she plays the role of wife and queen. A really nice progression to see is the warmth that grows between her and Louis. While it may not be a classic movie love story, they seem to really care about each other and grow together. Towards the end of the film, we see a lot of courage from the young couple coming to terms with their whole world crashing down. At this point, they have gone from spoilt royals to characters it's impossible not to feel for. In the very last scene, when Marie Antoinette looks out to the Versailles gardens and tells Louis she is saying goodbye. It's a really sad moment. Number 3. Casting. I have nothing but good things to say about the casting choices in this film. Kirsten Dunst, I think, was a perfect choice for Marie Antoinette. Visually, she's a great choice because obviously she's beautiful, as indeed the real lady was said to be. The actress really captures the various things and emotions the character goes through. I also thought Jason Schwartzman as Louis was a fantastic choice. He really shows Louis as an awkward, sensitive, and a young man overwhelmed by his position. He delivered all that brilliantly, and both actors had some great comic moments. Other standout performances for me were the characters Duchess of Polignac and Du Barry, but there is really no weak link in the cast. Some of these actors were really well known, and they were just all wonderful. Number 4. Funny moments. I wouldn't say my sides were splitting watching this film, but it was still funny at times. The scenes where we see Marie Antoinette have to start getting her head around Versailles Protocol are a lot of fun. In one scene, we see Marie Antoinette wake up and then go through the long process of beginning to get dressed, with constantly dealing with more senior royals entering the room and the acknowledgement that has to come with it. In this scene, her lady-in-waiting is getting more and more flustered. It's pretty funny. Du Barry also gives some funny moments, including pretending to be a cat to turn on the king. Another amusing scene is when we see the extremely camp portrayal of Marie Antoinette's favourite hairdresser give what must be described as some of the biggest hair in history to a delighted Marie Antoinette. Number 5. Locations. I always love when movies about history use real locations, and watching this film I could not have asked for more. The stunning palace of Versailles looked absolutely magical. At times I almost felt distracted from the storyline because I was getting lost in the visuals. I have been lucky enough to visit Versailles twice in my life, and I love it so much, and I would say it is an absolute must for any history fan visiting Paris. In the film, there was so much access to various spaces at the palace as well as the gardens. I was thinking, I wonder if the actors and crew really appreciate how lucky they were to be in this space every day. They must have felt so close to the history. I know for me, that would have been a dream come true. Number 6. Accents. I have to say I don't really understand the choices behind the different accents in the film. Marie Antoinette has an American accent, while a lot of others have English accents. A few have French, and some minor characters even speak in French. There seems to be no explanation as to why we get the accents we do. At first, I thought maybe all the actors were just talking in their own accents. And although I don't know any of these people, so I can't know for sure how they sound, some of the actors were certainly not speaking in the accent of the country they come from. I do find it interesting how historic movies so often use English accents, regardless of where in the world they are set. Maybe the filmmakers feel this is what the audience will respond better to, but apart from that, I can't really think of an obvious reason why this is the standard. It's not a big problem about the accents in the film, and after spotting it early, I kind of forgot. But it's just a bit of a strange choice to me. Number 7. Music. Music plays a huge part in this film. From almost the first second, we're hit with a big rock song right in the intro. Throughout the film, we get music all the time. Some of it is gentle piano, and a lot of the time it's 70s and 80s rock songs. I think music was used very effectively in the film, and it reflected the mood of what Marie Antoinette was dealing with, whether it be having fun, or palace protocol, or just loneliness and boredom. There were actually at times long pieces of music without much dialogue. I think the music in the movie added so much. It changed the whole energy, and the energy matched that of the lead character, who wanted to live her life to the full and have every possible enjoyment. I know a lot of people are such purists when it comes to history movies, and they think modern music has no place in that. This is a view that I personally do not agree with. The thought of them taking it out of this particular movie and adding period music just would change the film so much. Number 8. Lack of peasants and French issues. It's interesting that there is a serious lack in this film of the issues France was facing at the time. It's definitely mentioned here and there in the film, although it would be easy to miss. We do see Louis being easily led by his advisors and misspending French money. I do appreciate the acknowledgement as well as a few other brief references that come up in the film, but maybe a bit more explanation of some of the reasons for the cause of the French Revolution would have been good. We do see at the end of the film the consequences of the lavish lifestyle the nobility enjoyed, as well as the mismanagement of the country, come to a head. But I do wonder, if I knew nothing about the French Revolution and I watched this film, would I be lost and confused at the end? On the other hand, I do quite like that the film kind of highlights the utter ignorance of the French nobility towards the real problems. They are portrayed as having this wonderful carefree life with little thought to the outside world. I almost, just to be completely greedy for a moment, wish there were 2 versions of this film, with a second showing a bit more of the other side of things, and show the contrast between the Versailles world and the world of the real people. Number 9. Lack of trial and execution. So following on from the previous point, would this film have been better if we had seen what happened next to Marie Antoinette, with her imprisonment, attempted escape, trial and execution? I feel at the time I first watched this film many years ago that I felt a bit cheated when the film ends where it does. I was like, wait, I want to see what happens next. Are we really not going to get any of that, even if it's just briefly? On the other hand, I found in this rewatch the ending was really quite fitting with the feel of the overall movie, and maybe therefore it was the right choice. As I said before, the ending is really sad with the family leaving Versailles. I guess again I just want to be greedy and get more story and have more of the picture of her life. Maybe a second film would have been amazing for a history nerd like me. Okay, so that's my big thoughts from this film. Overall, I think it's definitely worth a watch from any history fan. The pacing was maybe a little slow at times, but all in all, I really enjoyed this rewatch. Well, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, why not like and subscribe to this channel? And join us in the future for more fabulous reviews.